Hello, I'm Scott Soshnick.
And I'm Eben Novy-Williams, and this is the Rose City Resale Sports Business Podcast, the Sporticast.
Ooh, good enthusiasm, good creativity. You know I love a good alliteration.
I do know you
I think
do.
that's
You and
I
me
think
both,
that's
my
why you
friend.
did that. Very, very high marks today, Novy-Williams.
We'll take
really.
it.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I mean, so much so that normally this is where I will delve into a topic. I'm going to even let you explain what a Rose City resale means, what we're talking about. By golly, that was good.
Some breaking news from the Soshnick Novy-Williams crew here, right as we're recording this.
Should I do a Kevin Weeks? Should I do a video Kevin Weeks where, just the forehead? Breaking
People
news,
loved your
breaking
last
news.
one,
People
by the
loved
way.
the first
People
one.
loved the last one.
No, but there were two schools of people. Those who knew what I was doing, paying homage to Kevin and sort of playing, having fun with it. And then the people were like, "You need to learn how to hold a camera. What are you doing, you idiot?" Like plenty of, which is why I love Twitter. Sure. Probably more of the "you're an idiot" than "hey, I know what you're doing there," Kevin Weeks fan. But anyway, go ahead, get to your news.
Yeah, let's get to the news. The Bhathal family, Newport Beach, very wealthy family, obviously. Investors in the Sacramento Kings and the arena there are in exclusive talks to buy the Portland Thorns, the NWSL team, a team that has had a lot of commercial success in the past 15 years. A team that is being sold because of the fallout of the investigations into abuse around women's soccer, currently owned by Hank Paulson, Merritt Paulson, and Peregrine Sports. A really interesting one here, Scott, and we can get into all of the specifics here. But from what we're told, Bhathal family's exclusive talks. We don't have a price on the deal yet. Sportico values the team at $65 million, but it's been a big commercial growth 18 months for NWSL, including a lot of new owners, and it looks like there's a decent chance the Bhathals will be the next newest owner in NWSL.
Oh, I'm not even really sure you need me for this podcast. That was really good. You want to just keep going? Yeah, that was really good. First of all, on price, we don't know the price, but I think this is going to be one of those where our Kurt Bodenhausen great work is going to be right around where it should be. That's going to be the ballpark. But interestingly enough, and by the way, we have the Thorns in Portland. We have OL Reign in Seattle. We've reported that the Sounders are in exclusive talks to acquire that franchise. Mm-hmm. So just one, very good for the NWSL that this will be over, that new owners will be in place and we move on sort of past the scandal. And if it is these particular owners, if they do cross the finish line, you would say that these are good owners to have. They have synergies. They have operational expertise with other sports, clearly. So that is a good thing. But there is a little bit of a thorny issue with this team and this purchase. It's that the Paulsons control the venue. It's owned by the city. Yeah. But the Paulsons control the venue. And as you and I have discussed myriad times on this show, the Holy Grail is, or at least, before the regional sports networks melted, but in the big markets, the Holy Grail is the Trinity. You want the team, you want the broadcast network, and you want the facility. So they don't have that here. You're likely, unless something is really in the air that we're not aware of, you're going to be a tenant in a building where the old owner controls. Not the ideal situation.
Yeah, and not only that, the timber. So it's the owners of the Timbers, the Paulson family. The Timbers have provided so much infrastructure and back end help to the Thorns. It was essentially the same organization. So it was the same general counsel, the same ticket sales, the same sponsorship sales, the same HR. All of that stuff was essentially shared between the two teams.
Which makes perfect sense, by the way.
That's
the way it should
when
be.
they're part of the same portfolio.
Same organ family. Yeah.
But whoever buys the Thorns is going to need to build out a lot of that infrastructure, right? I assume that a lot of those resources are suddenly not going to be made available if the team is under different ownership. So it's not like a lot of other sales. Let's say the OL Reign, for example, where when you buy the team, you're getting all the employees and everything that's built, the commercial enterprise behind the team. From what I understand, when you buy the Thorns, you're getting the players, the technical staff, the coaching, et cetera, obviously some other assets, but there's a bit more that goes into building up your front office for the Thorns than there is for a lot of other NWSL teams or other teams that we see hit the market as well.
I wonder also how many, let's say, sponsorship deals were commingled.
Both,
like
yeah.
Thorns, and I'm guessing that probably a majority, this is just guesswork, that a majority of those commercial deals included both franchises. So now how do you extricate? How do you resell one without the other? How do you determine, I mean, not how you do it, you model it and you determine what the value is if you're just getting one team, or you have to negotiate with two different entities now if you want sort of soccer, male and female in Portland. So that's why I find this to be a very interesting transaction, and we have to see how it moves. It's not just your standard one team is being acquired, and but this has some wrinkls to it. It'll be really fun to see how they go about it.
It goes as deep as this, Scott. The Portland Thorns official website is timbers.com/ThornsFC. So you even need to extricate the website and create its own URL and a whole new setup for that, most likely. So
have you gone on the USPTO? Have you gone on upsto.gov and checked to see what thornsfc.com is? Somebody sitting there waiting to do that? Do we have a squatter?
That's a great question. We should look at that before we publish this podcast, Scott. That just shows how deep the all of the overlapping between the Timbers and the Thorns goes.
What was it? What did we say in journalism? Novy-Williams, show don't tell.
Yeah,
you just showed.
There we
go. Good
go.
show. Very, very good. A good open. A good show, like you are determined. You are probably going to screw the next thing up because those are two very strong things for you. Right now.
Let's talk about the Bhathals for a second. They, as we said, minority investors in the Sacramento Kings.
I know you're a big World League of American Football fan. I know you've got all those shirts and hats and banners and everything in your bedroom.
I was going to say so. In addition to the Kings, which they were part of Vivek Ranadive's group that bought the Kings for I think $543 million back in 2013. What a great deal that looks like now.
Anything bought in 2013 looks like a great deal now.
That's fair, yeah. $2.5 billion, I think, is our valuation on the Kings right now. They owned an American football team, the Orlando Thunder. Is that it? I am forgetting even the Orlando Thunder in the what's the league?
Was it World League of American Football?
The World League of American Football. In the early 90s. So there is some deeper sports ownership history with Raj Bhathal and his family. They recently restructured their family office, Scott, with the aim of focusing on three main verticals: real estate, sports, and commercial goods. They have the original business was a swimwear company. Yeah. So it's clear that sports is a priority of theirs moving forward.
Yeah, I would love to say. So, Raj, what did you learn from the World League of American Football? What lessons learned from the Orlando Thunder? That would be fascinating. Yeah. I would like to know, like, what did you learn? What are the takeaways that you've utilized with the Kings? I wonder what kind of overlap there is there.
I think you'd say the Kings was a better investment.
Yes, I should have been. Yeah, the NBA was better than the World League of American Football. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you know what else was a good investment, although pricey as well?
What?
I know you know.
Man City?
Man City.
Hey, look at that.
Manchester City. It's almost like we discussed this ahead of time. And
just lay out topics.
Let's be transparent. How much time did we spend preparing for this?
30 seconds.
I was going to say a minute. We did a solid minute on saying, what do you want to talk about? And it works better. I mean, you're reusing your Sporticast logo behind you from the last show.
It did not get erased.
I'm surprised that's still there.
Makes my job easy.
But Bodenhausen tells me Man City did $891 million in revenue, a record for the EPL, up 16%. Does that include like all of Erling Haaland's, all of his the possible bonuses that he could get and in his contract? Because if there's anything like last year, he keeps going on the tear, then they'll wind up losing money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the couple numbers that jumped out to me here, the profit number, the operating profit for Man City last year. This is a historically successful year. They won all three of the major cups in the UK.
Say treble. Say treble.
Won the treble. I can't remember how well they did in the Champions League. It was a very successful season. The operating profit, $108 million, which is really good for a team of this size, given the second number I'm going to say, Scott. The player costs,
which are exploding everywhere.
$530 million, more than $500 million they spent on players. We make these comparisons a lot because it's interesting, but the salary cap in the NFL last year was $208 million. Right, that is the beauty of fixed costs. If you are an owner in the NFL, you're paying
your biggest expense is fixed.
It's fixed, and it's more than half of what teams in the English Premier League are paying their players in a very unfixed system. The biggest soccer teams in the world are valued kind of similarly to the biggest NFL teams. NFL teams are a little bit higher, but it does show kind of the very different economics here. Where Man City
what is your risk tolerance? If you don't have a very high risk tolerance, do not buy an EPL team.
Exactly, and that $530 million number is probably going to go up significantly in the next 5 years, and the NFL salary cap number is going to go up, but not significantly, right?
In proportion to revenue.
Probably a very clear and very proportional move there. So just giving a sense of the two economic differences there, because the Man City, according to Kurt, valued at $4.4 billion, which is about middle of the pack, right, for an NFL team or so.
Yeah, I mean, Commander sold at 6. There we go. There's your comparison.
So, so valuations may be kind of in the similar ballpark, but the economics of running these teams, again, very, very different.
I will tell you what I've heard time and time again in labor negotiations from the player side, and I think I've said this before, that they will contend, the players will contend, that owners are seeking an idiot-proof system. Now, let me be clear as day. I am not calling anybody an idiot. What I am saying is the players often contend that owners, through the different vehicles that they want to put into their labor contracts, would love an idiot-proof system whereby any crazy could make money. You cannot screw it up. And I would contend, Mr. Novy-Williams, that you, me, anybody, any of your crazy pals who would be in charge of an NFL team would find it really hard to lose money. Again, they are not idiots. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they have an idiot-proof system. Before a single ticket, sponsorship, hot dog, foam finger, beer, anything is sold, you are going to make money on your NFL team simply based on the shared national media revenue.
Yeah, the shared check was with $370 million, I think, this year. And again, the salary cap was $208. So you can do the math there.
Do the math. You can do it. You can do it.
of wiggle room there after your biggest expense, before, as you said, before any of those local revenue numbers kick in. So,
what's Jerry Jones charge for a tour of AT&T these days? You have any idea?
That's a great question.
I'm going to go ahead. You talk for a second. Okay. Tour. I'm going to do this. I'm
going to guess that a tour of AT&T Stadium is a nice $50 is my guess.
Price 50? You think 50?
I think
you can probably get more than that. Let me see. How much? And I'm just going. People ask, how much does it cost a tour? So I'm just going to click on that. Hey, look at you. Adults ages 5+. Gate price $48.33. It says your price $35.
Let's go.
So let's say $48.
And a half off. Yeah.
Yeah. How many? And they're like, this is like, the Sistine Chapel. This is like, the tours are crazy. This is like visiting a cathedral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The economics.
You go to Dallas.
Great.
What do you want to do? I got to see the stadium.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's the Meet Jerry Jones interactive experience. The hologram Jerry Jones. I love that. Yeah. You don't get the Michelangelo hologram in the Sistine Chapel. Maybe we should. You should get that. Maybe you pay a little bit more. I don't know how we got there, but anyway.
On the podcast,
Wait, educational. They have an educational tour right here. AT&T Stadium offers the world's largest lesson plan. Let AT&T Stadium do the teaching as students have an educational experience. Group ticket info. This is fun. I'm doing this. Hold on. Reject cookies. Okay. Oh, I have to put my name in and then they send me the stuff, so I can't do that. But I didn't know they had that too. Yes, let the Cowboys be the educator. There's an art tour, by the way.
Okay.
Educational tour. Self-guided tour. Owner's experience, so you can go to the owner's club and all that stuff. VIP guided, doesn't say who's guiding. It's like Emmett Smith walking me through. There's rally days. I don't know what that is. On game day. You can do game day. This is awesome. I love this.
Listen to Scott surf the internet at the
yeah. But keep in mind, all this goes right to the bottom line. This is all bottom line profit. 100% margin, boom, right to the bottom line because you already paid your players and that's all you got.
And Manchester City can do some of those things as well. Obviously, we're not.
Yes,
we're not implying that, but again, the economics are quite different. Scott, let's change pace here. Unless there's anything else you want to say on Man City, a much smaller investment made in American sports this week. Definitely,
but by somebody with a good net worth though.
Someone with a very good net worth, Warren Buffett, if you've heard of him, just bought up a bunch of shares of the Atlanta Braves. I'll let you fill in the numbers here, but I chuckled at the size of the stake here for sure.
All right, so Buffett bought, what did I write down? I can't tell. I have an extra. I think that's the dollar sign. So it's $8 million, right, in Brave shares?
$8 million.
$8 million in Brave. This is what Warren Buffett has held F1 for a while. Berkshire has had F1 for a while, but with this he gets Live Nation also, all Liberty Media holdings. So clearly Warren Buffett is liking Greg Maffei, and they're doing something right. He likes what they see. You know, what does Buffett do? He buys in. He lets the management stay in place because he was attracted to it for a reason, and he stays out of it, right? I don't know. No word on what Charlie Munger thinks, by the way. But notoriously, Warren Buffett just wasn't a big sports guy. From what I remember in my talks about Warren and sports, there was only one thing he liked and he owned, and it was minor league baseball.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, okay. I think he owns some minor league baseball clubs, but that was about it.
Which is a different economic model than sports.
Yeah,
you and I talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Business, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so Braves, they have a tracking stock, and Buffett bought in $8 million, and I don't know, does he come into the clubhouse and give some pointers to the Braves? I mean, they're doing pretty well on the field. They're doing pretty well off the field. So clearly got the attention of Warren Buffett. Good for them.
I wonder if talking to his friend Alex Rodriguez or his friend Ndamukong Suh in any way influenced his thinking here around live sports. Scott, I'll give you a quick tangent that you'll laugh at. When
Love 'em.
When I joined Bloomberg as an intern, there's an intern test that everybody takes.
Yeah.
And part of the test was a bunch of very quick word association. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? One of them was Berkshire Hathaway.
By the way, I've never heard of this. I'd never heard of this.
This story?
No, I've never heard. Yeah, I didn't know that we gave the intern the test.
There's an intern test. I did historically bad on the test. I remember someone telling me years later that it was laughable how bad I did on the intern test. It's a wonder I even got hired at all. But the one of the questions was Berkshire Hathaway. What is Berkshire Hathaway? And I had absolutely no idea what it was.
A fine actor. What did you take a guess?
I thought it was like a retreat in the Massachusetts woods where some economic policy had been hammered out.
The Berkshires, that's nice.
Like Bretton Woods or something like that.
Yes,
that was my.
Hey, on an educated guess, I think you did darn well.
Yeah,
darn good job on the educated
guess. Worked out fine
guess.
for me in the end, but I remember.
Wait. Oh, this reminds me.
Yeah.
They hired you.
They did. Yeah.
What did you have to do not to get hired?
It's amazing. Another one, if we just want to continue this real quick, another one of the questions was there was an editing portion where you had to take a poorly written story and fix it. And one of the things in the story that was poorly done was that the price of Coca-Cola was listed 3 different ways in the story. It was listed at $150, $1.50, and 15 cents. And I recognized that there was inconsistency. But in my mind, I thought all stock was less than $1. That's just what I thought it was. So I edited all the Coke shares down to 15 cents. And I remember this person telling me later, it was it was supposed to be $150. That was the price of Coke at the time. But you recognize the problem, but didn't realize that the price of a Coke share was probably closer to $100 than it was to 15 cents.
Yeah.
So there was a bunch of things in the in the Bloomberg intern test that I did not successfully complete, and yet here I am.
That's very interesting, and yet I would say you got hired, you sat next to me, and here we are all these years later.
Exactly. Is there
a sports equivalent to what I've seen happening in the soft drink market, where when I was a youngin' like you or younger than you had the 2-liter bottle of Coke, Pepsi, no matter what it was.
Yeah.
The 2-liter bottle was 99 cents. That was just the standard price. It was 99 cents. Mm-hmm. Then it became $1.19, $1.40, whatever it's been. Now, not only is the price reached, whether it's $1.99, $2+, whatever it may be, but you're getting the smaller bottle. You're getting the liter and a half, not the 2-liter bottle.
Yeah,
price goes up,
can't get a
quantity goes down.
For
well, exactly.
Well,
no, you can. That's the thing. You're better off buying a 2-liter than you are a 16-ouncer.
Oh, interesting. You're saying that the volume of soda is better to buy in
yes, but still you're getting less and the price has gone up. Is there a sports equivalent? I know I'm putting you on the spot here. Is there a sports equivalent where you're just getting? Have they shortened the clock and you're getting less but paying more?
There's certainly in terms of a share of a league, like as these leagues expand, if you bought an NWSL team at the beginning, you were one of 8, and if you buy an NWSL team now, you're one of 16, essentially, right? Which I know is not exactly what
that's true, a little diluted.
What you're talking about there, but there is some dilution there happening.
Along with your experience, by the way, do you remember? We're not going to name the colleague or the former colleague and embarrass him, but do you remember the story where the phone rang one morning and our colleague is sitting there manning the sports desk? And it's Mike Bloomberg. Yeah. And Mike said to our colleague, "Hey, do you know who Michael Milken is?"
Michael Milken. Yeah, I do remember
right.
this. Yeah.
And our colleague said no.
Yeah. Well, if I had gotten that phone call when I was an intern, I definitely also would have said no.
You thought Coke was 15 cents, so yeah, obviously. Yeah. No, I don't know Michael Milken. Who's Michael Milken?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Michael Milken would have liked ESPN Bet. I'm guessing. Michael, a little gamble there. Michael would have liked it. But, I mean, this is an interesting story. ESPN Bet launched this week. And, listen, Penn tried with Barstool. Didn't work, right? It just spectacular. You know a lot about the gaming space. In essence, this is a branding exercise. Yep. That's what this is. This is a branding. You're buying a huge sports brand and the people they reach, sports fans. The question is, will people go to something branded ESPN to bet more than, say, DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, and the myriad others? This is a really interesting branding test, and you know me, I would, as a novice person in this space, always tell you I would be brand agnostic. Just give me whoever's giving me better odds, best deal. Even I guess UX, because I would be really frustrated if I couldn't do things easily. So UX would matter to me, yes. But to me, it would be about pricing. Help me out. What do you think about ESPN Bet?
I think you nailed it there. This is a big experiment, and it's been tried in various ways a lot. This idea that media companies either partnering with owning their own sports books or branding their sports books, and then figuring out some easy way to funnel their millions, in ESPN's case, hundreds of millions of people that consume ESPN in some capacity, funneling them over to the betting site in a cheaper way has been the foundational idea behind a lot of sports books. You mentioned Penn, who's the partner in ESPN Bet. They tried this 2 years ago with Barstool, and the whole theory was Barstool has a smaller audience than ESPN, but one that very well overlaps. Very loyal and overlaps well with your gambling demographic.
Very betty.
Young men,
very betty.
Fans, exactly. Very
sitting around with 12 big screens betting on every single thing.
And the whole point there was it's really expensive to acquire customers in sports betting. Barstool has the customers. It will be cheaper to get them to bet at Barstool Sportsbook than it will be for Penn National to get Barstool fans to get to them if there's not a connection there. And it didn't work. Penn lost a lot of money on the Barstool Sportsbook, and to the extent that they essentially severed the deal, Barstool went back to Dave Portnoy for $1, which we've talked about, and they're trying again with ESPN. There are a lot of people in this industry, Scott, who do not believe that this idea of cheap customer acquisition via a major media company
that it works.
is a real thing.
Yeah.
And if ESPN can't do it, I would say that almost nobody can. And it's interesting to me that the other newish sportsbook out there is the Fanatics Sportsbook.
Yeah.
Has a different but in some ways similar pitch here, which is that we have a database of 90 million fans. We know so many of the sports fans in the country because in some ways they've interacted with a Fanatics product at some capacity.
Can I argue that more ESPN users are likely bettors than Fanatics users?
I think you can make that argument, yeah.
Okay, good.
A lot of
good.
Fanatics
I don't want to be
buyers
dumb.
may be parents looking for T-shirts for their kids or
Yep.
or fans who aren't interested in betting, and ESPN maybe has a more valuable data set. But again, I think the big question here is if you are interested in willing to sports bet in America, have you already found a partner? Have you already found a number of them? Is ESPN going to get to new people? There's a number of states, obviously, that have not launched yet, so ESPN will be immediately competitive in those probably as well. But I think the big question here, and it's a big gamble by two publicly traded companies, it's Disney and it's Penn. Does this model work if it's done properly? And one of the questions I have for you, ESPN has been gradually dipping its toe in the waters. It's part of Disney, obviously. It's a family-oriented business. Do you think at this point gambling is so destigmatized, sports betting is so destigmatized that there's any reputational risk or no reputational risk to the Disney portfolio suddenly having an ESPN branded sports book? Are people overthinking that, underthinking that? What do you think?
Yeah, they've been in so the big fights with DeSantis in Florida and so many things. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
I think I agree with that.
You know, I will tell you again, when you do the small focus groups, my sister is still, kids shouldn't be betting. It's too easy. It's on the phone. Okay, I let her rant and rave, and I'm like, enough, whatever. You know, they get everything they can on your phone. I know, but
it's too easy.
Yeah, but she's not canceling ESPN. She's not saying forget the bundle and I'm not going to Disney World because ESPN now has a sports book and my kids blew $10,000 on that and now have to figure out how to pay it back.
Yeah,
that's just not happening. I was reading something while you were talking this, so I knew you were doing really well. I can tell when you're on a good roll, like one of your really intelligent rolls. So right. I just let you go. But I also had an idea. I was like, I don't know why, but I was like, maybe at the end, let's recap the names we say in each podcast. Like, and then we can tweet it out also. Like, it's funny how we get from one place to another as we're doing the podcast. Yeah. We had the Bhathal family, obviously.
Yeah.
Mentioned Erling Haaland.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned Warren Buffett. We mentioned Charlie Munger. We mentioned Michael Milken, Greg Maffei.
Yep.
You know, they all belong on this podcast. But I always think it's funny to say
Dave
we
Portnoy
should just say Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
These are the collections of people, that we said on this podcast, and see if you can figure out how they all tie together. And
should we do like the way the Manning brothers do those little placards that have their guests before the show? Should we write it down after the show and then tweet that out?
Yes, and you can do it right behind you. Right,
yeah,
that would be nice with your whiteboard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gee, if I only knew the name of the Disney CEO, maybe we should say his name too, or maybe the head of ESPN.
Bob Iger.
Bob Iger. Bob Iger, is that how you say it? Right. Yeah. He's got a lot of things going on there, and this is a pretty big bet. This is
exactly
not like streaming big, like how are we going to make money on streaming big, but big. Yeah. Let's see how it works out. All right, close the show.
I'll add two more names to the list, Scott. One of them being Scott Soshnick.
One be me.
And you can find him on Twitter at Soshnick. I am Eben Novy-Williams. You can find me on Twitter at Novy_Williams. The Sporticast is produced by Aaron Greenewald. Thank you very much to Aaron. Cora Veltman, who is Sportico's digital media editor, would like you to know that you can follow the show at Sporticast, which is the hub of the Sportico Media Network.